So if you are teaching your puppy here how to sit, we are going to work on Law Reward for sit. Come here, baby. I also use marker training, which means when you hear me say the word yes, the behavior she just performed earned her a food reward. So what you want to do is determine the height of your dog's nose when your dog is standing. And then you're going to have your treats ready. Now, you're going to want to use treats that are soft, small, and kind of stinky. Dogs are very attracted to scent. You're going to hold the treat up to her nose, and then go up and slightly back. Yes, good girl. And ideally they do that, where they just go right into a sit. That's ideal. Hi, baby. Good girl. So again, you're determining her height when she's standing still, and up and slightly back. Good girl. Right here. Come here, baby. So again, it's to her nose and up. Yes. Good girl. Now, what to do if your dog doesn't happen to go right into a sit just like that? Very common. Let's think about your presentation of the food reward. If your puppy is jumping up, there's a good chance that you're holding it too high, causing them to want to reach up to get to it. Yes, good girl. You're very smart. If you find that while you start all the way over here, you end up with a puppy moving back and you're across the room before they get the treat, they're probably standing and moving backwards and you're leaning just a little too far back, so they're going with the treat, and the next thing you know, you're chasing them all over the room and getting all flustered. That's a pretty common one. Excuse me, off. Yes, good girl. So what you want to do, again, is determine the height her nose is when she's standing on all fours, and up and slightly back. Yes, good girl. Now, if you looked at the delivery technique of the treat and you're like, nope, I'm definitely doing that, look at the environment in which you're working. Is there a lot going on? Is there other dogs in the house running around? Do you have kids playing? Is your spouse cooking dinner? Are the kids talking and doing homework in the same room? It might just be a little too distracting. What kind of food rewards are you using? Are you like, well, we have these soft treats and we think she should love them, and she does when she eats them when you hand them to her, but the minute you try to do this, she gets flustered and walks away. The treats may not be appealing enough to her. So you're going to want to consider things like cheese, string cheese, American cheese, like sliced American cheese, block cheese, lunch meats. Avoid salami and pepperoni because they're going to be a little strong. Real like food, leftovers, like chicken and steak and hamburger and hot dog and meatball, as long as it's not covered in sauce, seasonings, or has a lot of onion or garlic, it should be good. So you want to make sure that she's in fact hungry. Maybe don't practice this right after a meal. Keep the environment kind of calm. Excuse me, where are you going? And then if that doesn't get you results, if your dog is still squirming all over the place, don't worry. You're not like stuck with a stupid dog that can't learn or the minority. She's just confused, and that's fine. So what you're going to do is put the treat to your pup's nose, and when your dog is looking up, you're going to give your dog the reward. In the beginning, instead of expecting the dog to actually sit and holding out for that sit, just reward your dog for looking up. As your dog, and you give the treat while your dog is looking up. If your dog looks up, pulls away, and then you give the treat, there's no incentive to keep looking up. And what you want to do is get your dog looking up so that their little bum is inclined to go down. If your dog is able to say look up and then look away and you're like, yeah, that's it, your dog is going to be too confused. So hold the treat right above their heads, they're looking up, give it to them a few times. After you've done it like 2 or 3 times for just looking up, go have them look up and go 1 Mississippi, treat. Do that 2 or 3 more times. Then hold out for 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then give them a treat. And you're just going to keep doing that to the 2, 3, or 4 repetitions, and then you're going to go up. As long as your dog isn't getting up and walking away, just raise it a second, a Mississippi, if you will. So it's 1 Mississippi. Yes, you're so good, girl. So it's 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then she gets the treat. And then, you, like I said, you repeat that a few times until it's so uncomfortable to keep looking up. She's just kind of forced to slide into the sit to avoid the uncomfortable looking up. When to add the cue, the verbal cue? once you can easily go like this, right, right, come here, baby. Good girl. Once you know you can go just like that and she pops into a sit, then what you're going to do is, with your puppy standing, good girl, you're going to say sit, and then lower her into position. So it's verbal cue, pause for about a second or so, and then you're going to lower her. In the beginning, she does not know what the word sit means. Doesn't matter how many dogs sit beautifully on command, she doesn't know. So you want to say sit, and then lower. Good girl. And you're going to keep doing that. And then after, I don't know, 30, 40 more times, you're going to notice that you're going to say sit. And before your hand gets to her little nose, sit, her little bum is going to hit the ground. And then you're going to say, good girl, that's right, you're such a genius. And then you can start to hold out for her to sit on her own. Hi, baby. Good girl.